What does it take to become a true legend, to reach the very top, to win every possible title, or to leave such a deep mark that even the absence of the most coveted award, the Summoner's Cup, cannot diminish your greatness? Not long ago, the League of Legends esports world learned the name of the second player to be inducted into the most prestigious list, the Hall of Legends. And it is none other than Zhang Uzi Zihao. For many, this was just confirmation of what we already knew. Uzi is synonymous with unprecedented mechanical skill, aggression, and dominance on the bottom lane. He didn't just play League of Legends, he redefined it. His playstyle was so unique, so unapologetically bold, that entire teams were forged around a single philosophy: raise the puppy. And it worked. But here's the paradox: despite 2 World Championship appearances, an MSI victory, and countless LPL titles, the most coveted prize, the Summoner's Cup, never made it into his trophy case. Tens of thousands of hours of training, years spent at the top, phenomenal talent, and yet the world's title eluded him. So why, you ask, does a player who never lifted the Summoner's Cup deserve a place in the Hall of Legends alongside a champion as storied as Faker? Why does Riot Games consider him one of the most significant players in League of Legends history? Today we'll dive into Uzi's story to understand how someone can become an undisputed legend, even if their ultimate dream remains just out of reach. Early years and debut.
He was really young and really prodigious.
AD carries known for being greedy, very selfish.
The game was about him at all times.
To truly understand the Uzi phenomenon, we must rewind to 2012. Back then, at the genesis of China's professional League of Legends scene, a strikingly young and untamed talent burst forth. Only 15 years old, he made his debut with the Royal Club. What makes this even more remarkable is that in those formative years, Uzi often played with high ping due to a poor internet connection, a detail that only accentuates the already jaw-dropping quality of his mechanics. His skill was nothing short of innate. From his very first matches, it became apparent this was no ordinary player. His style was aggressive, fearless, and utterly dominant. Uzi didn't wait for his enemies to slip up, he forced their mistakes. Constantly probing, pressuring, testing limits, he made his opponents uncomfortable before they even knew what hit them. His mechanics, flawless, his execution, lethal, and his ideas, daring and ahead of their time. Because of his youth and relentless, sometimes reckless aggression, he quickly earned the nickname Puppy. The name stuck and it became emblematic of his energy, his boundless enthusiasm, and his hunger to win. He was like a puppy of the leash, wild, energetic, unstoppable. His signature soon became what the community would call clutch moments, those split-second decisions in high-pressure situations that only the best could make. Time and time again, when the game hung in the balance, Uzi found the one path to victory. His positioning in team fights was something else entirely. Always in the right place, always dealing damage, always staying out of reach. Spectators held their breath watching this teenager perform magic with unshakable calm. He did not just play League of Legends, he took over games. And very quickly it became clear, we were not watching a rising star, we were witnessing the future. Playing style and dominance in the LPL. Uzi didn't just fit into his teams, he became their core. His presence was so commanding that entire philosophies were crafted around him. With Royal Never Give Up, and even earlier with Royal Club, came the now legendary strategy, Raise the Puppy. More than a tactic, it became a doctrine.
You know, a lot of people may have heard about Uzi, and he's a lot like Faker. He's a very young prodigy and extremely fun to watch. And the whole strategy of Royal is built around what they call raising the puppy. It's a lot like protecting the double lift, except more effective. Except it works. Except more effective, yeah. And so he's known as the puppy in China because of his youth.
The premise was simple: protect and, so to say, enable Uzi at all costs. His jungler shadowed the bottom lane. His support prioritized his survival over all else. Tanks would throw themselves into chaos so Uzi could deal uninterrupted damage. The map did not revolve around objectives, it revolved around him. And no one understood how to capitalize on this better than Uzi. Every piece of gold, every buff, every bit of protection, he converted it all into raw power, capable of flipping games by himself. Uzi's dominance on lane was legendary. He won 2v2s even in so-called losing matchups. He brought relentless pressure from minute one, suffocating his opponents and crafting leads where none were expected. All of this was amplified by his immense champion pool, especially his command of Vayne, Kog'Maw, and Kai'Sa. His Vayne was mythic, epic. Uzi's precision in 1v2 outplays, his mastery of tumble for god-tier repositioning, and his flawless condemns that pin enemies to terrain, it was a dance of death. Every time he locked in Vayne, you knew the fireworks were coming. Kai'Sa, one of the League of Legends' most renowned marksman champions, also became one of Uzi's signature picks in his later career. This choice was no accident. Kai'Sa's aggressive and adaptable playstyle perfectly complemented Uzi. With her ability for swift maneuvering, high burst damage, and potential for self-sufficient plays, Kai'Sa allowed Uzi to continue his trademark aggressive gameplay. In his hands, Kai'Sa transformed into a true destructive force capable of both initiating fights and escaping the most perilous situations, becoming a symbol of his invincibility and adaptability. As one commentator famously said, he's literally insane. He has no chill, and it was true. And when he picked Kog'Maw, he became an artillery cannon on legs. From the safety of his backline, he would dish out terrifying sustained damage in extended teamfights. His consistency under pressure was one of the finest the game had ever seen. Naturally, results followed. Uzi reigned supreme on the bottom lane in the LPL. He shattered individual records. He topped the leaderboards in kills, damage, and had a staggering KDA, often above 5.0, even in the bloodiest games. For an aggressive ADC, that is nearly unheard of.
Lovely, actually going very deep. Cool going to go over towards Sammy. There's a stand. Unites have been used very early. Uzi is coming in from the backside. Surprise! Here comes the Vayne. Kill for White. Sand's not going to escape this one. They focus down Uzi, but look at him. He's still alive. He's still surviving. He stays alive. Ace for Royal Club. What an amazing fight coming out of Uzi.
With him at the helm, his teams, particularly RNG, became regional powerhouses. The LPL became his proving ground, and every stage appearance was met with a hush of anticipation. What would Uzi do this time? The road to the top, international finals, and victory at MSI. Just 1 year after their stunning debut in the 2013 season, Uzi and his Royal Club were already on the world stage. They did not just qualify for the Season 3 World Championship, they did so in triumph, becoming LPL champions. This gave them a direct ticket to the World's quarterfinals, and the whole world was ready to see what this puppy was capable of on the biggest stage. Their first match at Worlds was a real Chinese derby against strong opponents, the OMG team. Royal Club demonstrated their power, confidently defeating OMG with a score of 2-0. It was a powerful start that showed their serious intentions. In the semifinals, they faced the legendary European team, Fnatic. The series was tense, but Royal Club, despite losing one game, managed to secure a convincing 3-1 victory, paving their way to the grand final. And then the moment of truth arrived. Awaiting them in the final was perhaps the most formidable opponent in League of Legends history, the rising star in future Dynasty, SK Telecom T1, with the young and already incredible Faker. It was a clash of titans, but unfortunately for Uzi and his team, SKTT1 was simply unbeatable at that time. Despite all their efforts and tremendous pressure, Royal Club failed to win a single match, suffering a crushing 0-3 defeat. Uzi and Royal Club took the honorable but still second place at the World Championship. The 2014 season brought changes. Royal Club underwent a rebranding and became Starhorn Royal Club. Important players Tabe and Whites left the team, and Uzi, in an attempt to find new paths for the team, made a bold but ultimately unsuccessful move to the mid lane. This experiment did not last long, and by the summer season of the LPL, Uzi returned to his signature position as AD carry. The team was strengthened by Korean imports, the legendary Insect and Zero. Despite some inconsistency in their performances with the LPL, Starhorn Royal Club once again qualified for the 2014 World Championship. In Group B, they played confidently, losing only one match to Team Solo Mid. But the real test awaited them in the playoffs. In the quarterfinals, they faced another powerful Chinese team, Edward Gaming. It was an incredibly tense and long series where every moment could be decisive. In the end, after all 5 maps, Starhorn Royal Club snatched victory with a score of 3-2.
It's going to be the chase. No, they're going to stop. Good dissonance, but very low mana. Korn and Uzi are actually still trying to taste this. That means Uzi gets caught. He tries to jump in for the kill. That's not going to be what he wanted. More kills coming up for Uzi. Picks that up onto Cordo. That no dissonance to follow, but they are going to be able to lock down the quadra kill for Uzi.
In the semifinals, they once again faced Chinese rivals, the OMG team. And again, it was an incredibly close and exciting series with the teams trading blows. But in the end, Uzi's team won and advanced to the final. It was at this moment that Uzi cemented his place in League of Legends history. He became the first player to play in 2 consecutive World Championship finals. It was an unprecedented feat. As one commentator put it, he carried his team on his back twice to the grand finals. That's unheard of. In those 2 Worlds finals, Uzi was the only player to maintain a consistently high level of play throughout the tournament and remain a core member of the team, despite changes in Royal's lineup. However, just like a year before, an almost unstoppable monster stood in their way, the Korean team Samsung Galaxy White. This squad is considered by many to be one of the most dominant teams in the history of the game. Starhorn Royal Club didn't stand much of a chance. In the end, they lost 1-3, finishing second at Worlds once again. It was Uzi's second silver medal, a painful reminder of how close he came to the coveted trophy, yet how insurmountable that final step proved to be. After 2 consecutive Worlds Finals appearances, the 2015 season seemed to promise new hope. Uzi's transfer to OMG was one of the most high-profile moves in LPL history, an event that was supposed to shake up the competitive landscape. But despite the immense hype, things did not go as planned. OMG started strong in the spring split, but quickly lost momentum and ran into internal issues widely covered in the press. They were crushed by LGD Gaming 0-3 in the 2015 LPL Spring Playoffs quarterfinals. The summer split wasn't much better. OMG placed only 7th in the regular season, and after beating Master 3 they fell 1-3 to Visi Gaming. What was meant to be a season of triumph turned into one of disappointment. In December 2015, Uzi left OMG and joined Chaogu Reapers. The 2016 season began with promise. The team entered the IAM Season X World Championship but had a weak showing, finishing 5th and 6th. Still, things looked better in the LPL. QG was unbeatable in the first 4 weeks, winning 7 both rematches and dropping only a single game. It looked like Uzi had finally found his team again. But the second half of the regular season was disastrous. QG lost 5 series and won only 4. Then came the playoffs crisis. Internal team conflicts escalated and QG had to forfeit their semi-final match against EDG due to a lack of an eligible mid laner. In the 3rd place match, using Pekko as a temporary mid, they were swept 0-3 by WE. A year filled with hope was derailed by dysfunction. Then came the moment fans had long awaited. Uzi returned to his home port by rejoining Royal Never Give Up in the summer of 2016. While RNG's summer split didn't go entirely as expected, they still topped Group B with a 13-3 record. In the playoffs, they were soundly defeated by Edward Gaming in the finals but secured a spot at the 2016 World Championship through championship points. At Worlds, RNG was seeded into Group D. After beating TSM twice, they advanced to the quarterfinals as the 2nd seed. But once again, SK Telecom T1 stood in their path. Despite Uzi's best efforts, RNG lost 1-3.
Royal or ace! The Nexus is down! The turret will fall off shortly! SK Telecom advance to the semi-final at Worlds!
Following Worlds, RNG played in several events: the Demacia Cup, 3rd, 4th place, and the NEST 2016, 4th place. Yet the year ended with a personal triumph for Uzi. He helped Team Ice win the 2016 All-Star event and claimed victory in the 1v1 League of Legends tournament. He did that, defeating Maple in the final. It was a personal consolation prize in an otherwise difficult year.
3 stacks on him now. He's going to back up, does get the Q, but he's no exit.
Done for.
And Uzi is going to be your 1v1 champion.
He came into the tournament wanting to prove his individual skill here at All-Stars, and he's done it in a fashion that is utterly impressive, honestly. Molding the 80 carry style with a hybrid efficiency with that resolve 3, and honestly, playing it to perfection.
The 2017 season brought fresh hope for Uzi and RNG, though not all hopes were realized. With the departure of Maeda and Looper, the team welcomed Letme in the top lane and Ming as the rookie support. Uzi, now a seasoned veteran, took on a mentorship role for Ming, forming what would become a legendary bot lane duo. The synergy between Uzi and Ming quickly became RNG's backbone. Ming was the perfect complement to Uzi's aggressive style, knowing when to initiate, when to peel, and when to lay down his life to keep his carry safe. This support enabled the Mad Dog to fully unleash his destructive potential, dishing out massive damage and styling on his opponents in even the direst scenarios. The team dominated the regular season, first place in Group A during spring with a 12-4 record, and again first in Group B during summer with an identical 12-4 score. But RNG faltered in the playoffs. In the spring finals, they were swept 0-3 by Team WE. In summer, they lost a nail-biting series 2-3 to Edward Gaming. Nonetheless, their consistent excellence in the regular season earned them a spot at the 2017 World Championship. At Worlds, RNG was drawn into a challenging Group C alongside eventual champion Samsung Galaxy, G2 Sports, and 1907 Fenerbahce. RNG impressed with a 5-1 record, dropping only a single game to G2. In the quarterfinals, they dispatched Fnatic 3-1. Then came the semifinals, a clash with longtime rivals SK Telecom T1. The series became one of the most iconic in world history. RNG battled fiercely but ultimately fell 2-3, once again falling short of the final.
This could be the death now. Uzi trying to kite from Hootie. It's not going to happen. That's 4. That's going to be 5. That's the ace. And the legend of SK Telecom will not die today. I've been told they're mortal, but they are not going to die today. A 12,000 gold lead. The team fight when they need it. SKT, masters of control, will take down the Nexus, will take down RNG, and are headed to their 4th World Championship final.
Another heartbreaking defeat. Yet another Summoners Cup just out of reach. Yet another showcase of Uzi's undying spirit and refusal to surrender. Following 2 Worlds final appearances and years of trying to find the perfect roster, Uzi was finally rewarded. In 2018, after dominating the LPL Spring Split, RNG qualified for the mid-season Invitational. This time it felt different. This time, they were ready. In Berlin and then Paris, RNG dazzled. Uzi was at the top of his game, not just mechanically sharp, but wise and controlled. RNG steamrolled through the competition, facing the Korean powerhouse Kingzone Dragon X in the final. It was a battle for the ages, but RNG emerged victorious and Uzi finally hoisted his first international trophy. The win wasn't just for RNG, it was a victory for China, for LPL, and for Uzi personally. He was crowned the MSI 2018 MVP.
In the last big team fight, he survives. What a year for the best player in the world, Uzi.
This honor was well earned. Uzi maintained an astonishing KDA of 8.6 throughout the event, far ahead of other ADCs. His lane dominance was unmatched, boasting a plus 456 gold differential at 15 minutes. He also dealt 39.4% of his team's total damage, an outrageous figure that underscored his central role. MSI 2018's Grand Final became one of the most watched matches in esports history, largely thanks to the enormous Chinese audience. The match drew over 127 million unique viewers and the total event viewership exceeded 2 billion hours. It was one of the most important tournaments in league history and the first in 3 years where a Korean team was defeated in a major final. MSI 2018 marked the pinnacle of Uzi's international career. He was no longer just the king of the LPL, he was a global icon. From Royal Club to OMG, QG Reapers and back to RNG, his path had been long and winding. But it all led to this, the day he finally fulfilled his dream. Confrontation with the Korean Dynasty and eternal duel with Faker. For nearly a decade, the League of Legends esports scene was split in two, Korea at the top and the rest of the world striving to catch up. For a player like Uzi, whose hunger for absolute victory matched his immense talent, this became the greatest challenge and perhaps the most painful arc of his career. Uzi reached the World Championship Grand Final twice, in 2013 and 2014. Both times he was stopped by the same force, Korean teams. First, it was the rising SK Telecom T1 led by Faker. Back then, it was the seemingly unbeatable Samsung Galaxy White. These defeats didn't just deny him the title, they became a symbol of Korea's relentless dominance that loomed over the LPL like a shadow. Back then, the LCK was a literal pantheon. Its teams won everything, 4 consecutive world championships from 2013 to 2016, not to mention their supremacy in other international tournaments. For Uzi, the embodiment of Chinese hope, it was like charging endlessly at a wall. Korean teams knew Uzi's threat level and often made him the primary target. He was relentlessly camped in the bot lane, with enemy junglers hovering around him constantly. Despite the pressure, Uzi constantly found ways to farm, reposition, and made counterplays, showcasing unmatched resilience and tactical poise. Among all Korean legends, one name stood above the rest: Faker, the unkillable Demon King. His rivalry with Uzi, although indirect, evolved into one of the most iconic duels in esports. Two titans, each the face of their region, each obsessed with greatness. Their matchups were always events. It wasn't just teams facing off, it was a clash of philosophy, styles, and personalities. Uzi, the raw aggression and relentless risk-taker. Faker, calm, precise, and seemingly flawless. When you talked about LPL's hopes, you talked about Uzi. When you talked about Korea's dominance, you talked about Faker. They were the opposing forces.
In the 2013 World Finals, so 5 World Finals ago, they met in the finals. And SKT smashed them. Since then, Faker has won 3 World Championships. He has a chance to go to a 4th World Championship. Uzi, on the other hand, even though he's found so much success, he's never actually won anything.
Years of losing to Korean teams only fueled Uzi further. He craved that ultimate win, and finally in 2018 it came, at the mid-season Invitational. After dominating the LPL, RNG entered MSI to face Kingzone Dragon X, the LCK champions. The 3-1 victory in the final wasn't just another title, it was a breakthrough. A moment when Uzi and the LPL proved they could conquer the Korean Titans. It was the triumph Uzi had been chasing for years. He had beaten Korea, but fate has its irony. That same year, the World Championship was finally won by a Chinese team, Invictus Gaming, but without Uzi. The greatest player in LPL history was absent from the region's greatest moment. It was bittersweet though. Korea's dominance was finally broken, but Uzi wasn't on the stage when it happened. It only added to the tragedy of his elusive chase for the Summoners Cup. His rivalry with Korea and Faker was never just competitive, it was personal. It defined his legacy and elevated him into legend. The burden of perfection, health problems, and unexpected retirement. The price of greatness in esports, like in traditional sports, is steep. For Uzi, it was brutally so. Years of intense training, crushing pressure, and a relentless pursuit of perfection gradually eroded his health. A typical pro league player might spend 10 to 14 hours a day training. Uzi often went beyond that. Known for practicing to the point of collapse, he spent endless hours perfecting his mechanics, reviewing replays, and chasing mastery. It wasn't a hobby, it was his life. But the toll was inevitable. Uzi began suffering from repetitive strain injuries in his wrist and hands, a common condition among esports athletes. The pain became constant, yet he played on, driven by his devotion to the team and to the dream. Then, in June 2020, the esports world was rocked. At just 23 years old, Uzi, one of the all-time greats, announced his retirement from professional play. The reason was serious health issues far beyond wrist pain. Uzi revealed he had been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. In a statement, he wrote, "My doctor told me if I keep going, I might end up in a wheelchair." It was a terrifying admission, a wake-up call. He shared how years of stress, poor diet, lack of sleep, and zero physical activity had created the perfect storm. Chronic health problems, obesity, and ultimately diabetes. The very traits that made him great, his discipline, his obsession, were now threatening his life.
忽然有那么一天你会发现你的身体就是特别是这个右边这条手臂这块嘛，就会发现你握鼠标都握不住的那种感觉。确实身体方面是最关键的原因。也不怕告诉大家，真的我是有糖尿病，而且是很严重的那种。就现在一部分的原因也是因为这个吧，因为我现在要吃药来维持我的血糖。对，基本上那个药吃完以后的感觉呢，就是饭基本上不怎么吃得下。然后呢，每天都会特别的疲乏，就是你会觉得你自己睡不够，对，然后在这种情况下，我真的就会想着，我在一天10几个小时的训练量扛下来，扛得住吗？我最担心的就是我坚持不下来这样的训练强度，可能就保持不到最巅峰的状态。真的扛着这样的身体原因回去打，可能也不是大家眼里的那个最好的自己。
But Uzi's story did not end there. After taking time to heal, physically and mentally, Uzi announced a comeback. The world rejoiced. It wasn't just a player returning, it was a legend, a symbol of resilience and passion. His comeback was filled with promise but also hardship. After a brief but emotional stint with Billy Gaming in 2021 to 2022, he joined Edward Gaming in June 2023 to compete in the LPL Summer Split. Fans dreamed of seeing him at Worlds one last time. But EDG got placed 5th to 6th in the playoffs and failed to qualify via regional finals. Then, in November 2023, during a live stream, Uzi made another announcement that broke hearts: his final retirement. Through tears, he confessed, "I feel defeated by reality. I've lost the desire to compete." It was a raw moment. A man known for never giving up, finally accepting that his body and mind could no longer carry him. It was a solemn ending to a journey that began with youthful brilliance and burned with the fire of ambition. Uzi's story was never just about victories. It was about the human behind the gamer, the cost of greatness, the courage to keep going, and in the end, the grace to let go. Immortal legacy and place in the Hall of Legends. Despite all the trials, despite not winning, the Summoners Cup that is, Uzi's legacy remains not just alive, it is immortal. His influence on League of Legends, particularly on the AD carry role, is undeniable. He didn't just play the bottom lane, he redefined it, showing the world what a truly aggressive, mechanically flawless AD carry could do. Before Uzi, the marksman role was largely seen as safe, reserved, and positional. He shattered that mold. Uzi demonstrated that AD carries could be early game catalysts, not just late game cannons. That they could dominate lanes, pressure maps, and create openings, even under unfavorable conditions. His fearless decisions and jaw-dropping outplays reshaped the very philosophy of the role, inspiring millions around the world to initiate his aggression and chase his standard of perfection. But Uzi's impact wasn't just mechanical. He became the symbol and spark of a new era in Chinese esports. His relentless hunger for victory and refusal to bow to Korean supremacy were instrumental in the LPL's eventual breakthrough on the international stage. As Chris Greeley, global head of League of Legends esports, put it, Uzi's legacy goes beyond his titles and achievements. He changed the way we view the bot lane role and left a permanent mark on League of Legends esports. His passion and determination have inspired millions, and once we saw the voting breakdown from the global votes, it was clear that Uzi had left his mark on LOL esports. We are honored to induct him into the Hall of Legends. These words solidify what the community already knew. Uzi is not just a player, he's a phenomenon. He became the second ever inductee into the Hall of Legends, joining an elite echelon of esports icons, whose influence will be felt forever. The overwhelming support from judges and fans across the world reinforced his status as one of the most iconic figures in the game's history. From a teenage prodigy to a symbol of excellence and resilience, Uzi's career continues to inspire both seasoned professionals and young hopefuls. To commemorate this milestone, Riot Games unveiled a wave of tributes. Beyond the official Hall of Legends induction ceremony held on June 6th in Shanghai, China, a massive in-game event will kick off on July the 11th. This includes a special event pass that allows players to relive defining moments from Uzi's career, and unlock exclusive cosmetic items, all themed after the Mad Dog himself and developed in collaboration with him. The crown jewel of the event, a unique skin for Kaisa, one of Uzi's signature champions in his later career, taking center stage. And for longtime fans, a special Vayne skin will be released as part of the Battle Pass, a heartfelt tribute to one of his most iconic champions. These aren't just cosmetics, they're memorials to a legacy. But the tributes don't stop in-game. Just like last year, League of Legends partner Mercedes-Benz stepping in with a custom art piece celebrating Uzi's incredible career. More notably, Uzi will be gifted a one-of-a-kind manufacturer Mercedes-Benz G-Class built with EQ technology. Bettina Fetzer, Vice President of Digitalization and Communications at Mercedes-Benz AG, stated, "We want to honor Uzi with something as individual and unique as his career. A manufacturer customized G-Class with EQ technology. This one-of-a-kind vehicle shall be a steady companion, always reminding him of his great achievements." From the once fragile puppy to a name carved into the Hall of Legends, Uzi's story is one of transcendent talent, unwavering resolve, and the courage to endure both triumph and heartbreak. He may never have held the Summoner's Cup, but he claimed something greater, the hearts of millions, and an eternal place among the greatest to ever touch the Summoner's Rift. Thank you guys for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you never miss new tales from the world of esports and League of Legends. See you guys next time for a mug of the finest ale in all of Runeterra.